Hey everybody, Murphy Daily here, written by Murphy, and a moment of wonder. So I'm going to ask you, if you are watching this live, please type a 1 and give me a comment so I know you're here. I want to know that you're here. And if you're catching the replay, also type a comment. Show me, type a 2 if you're watching the replay so I know you're here. I want to have the conversation and I want to know who's hearing what I have to say. It's exciting to me to be able to share these thoughts with you. Oh my gosh, you guys, I went there. So I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Yesterday I finished The Feminine Persuasion, or maybe it was The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. And today I finished Big Girls Don't Cry by Rebecca Traister. Meg Wolitzer wrote a really good book, kind of talking about the stories of some people and their feminist journeys a little bit. It was interesting. And I have all kinds of feels about it, trying to think about what to share. When I first opened the book, it was talking about how it begins with the main character in college. And immediately I just want to jump up and say, that is not my life. I didn't get to go to a college where you go to a college and you stay there and you get to go to things like parties and you get to be all together in a dorm. I thought, really? I guess that happens for the very select few. It certainly didn't happen for me. And now I live in a rich town where that is the kind of college that the town is centered around, and those people go there. But I think that's not how most people do this. And that's very privileged and very special. And it is special in such a way that it's kind of like Leave It to Beaver, that when people watch it, they think, that's how you're supposed to be. And I'm not like that. And I don't like that, because you're supposed to be the way you are, not the way somebody else says. Oh, look at this. This is what you're supposed to be. Are you not that? Oh, I hate that. I'm not willing to do that, and I reject that. Okay. So that bothered me to begin with, and it went on to talk about a very interesting journey over, second wave feminism and whatever this wave feminism is, and it talked about this. So while it's exploring feminism, I'm like, I want to explore what's really happening with feminism. So I got Big Girls Don't Cry. And that was exploring the election, where the 2008 election, which had a lot of feminine energy. That was Hillary Clinton against Obama, and she lost to Obama. And then it was Obama against McCain and Sarah Palin. And I have a lot of feelings about that election and about those candidates and those people. They weren't just candidates. They're not candidates anymore. They're people. And this woman who is a Rebecca Traister, who is a contributor to Salon, and I consider a very journalisty journalist, a very what I would say a rigid feminist, because she has a definition of what a feminist is, and I'm not willing to go with that. But all the stories that they're talking about and the plans that everyone made and the handling that everyone was going to have of these candidates, I'm telling you, women being boxed out doesn't start with men. Men are part of it, sure, but women are a huge part of it too, because dogs will fight over a tiny scrap. And we women don't do a great job of helping each other out. And we're not even aware of it, because we're working over keeping our little scrap. So I thought about the story I wanted to tell. I was still in my 20s and I had a job as a highly paid consultant. I was excited about that. And I was working as a contractor consultant before I graduated from college because I took the slow boat through that one. And somehow I was in charge of a team of people, not directly, but I told them what to do because I was the one that knew what to do. They hired me to know what to do, and all the other people had to learn from me what to do. Okay, that was kind of exciting to be the one who knew what to do. And this one guy, he had a lot of issues, and he liked to make inappropriate sexist jokes, and I don't know, he was just kind of a pain in the butt, but what are you going to do? You have to do your work, right? And then one day he was like, my job is setting up conference rooms at the time it was, and making sure all the conferences happened, all the AV and the conferences happened. And he was working, and I come in there to see what was going on. I'm like, you need to get this done. And he was frustrated because the laptop wouldn't work properly, and he went over to the wall and slammed his fist against the wall. I'm like, oh, that's not okay to do that in front of the customer. We need to not do that. I'm like, okay, let's get this going. I got it working. Moved on, and I went and confronted him later in his cube. You can't do that. Don't ever do that again. I had to think about it a lot. This man was older than me. I was in my 20s. And I had to tell him, this is unacceptable. And I knew I had nobody to back me up. So I told him, hey, don't do that. I also went to the guy who was nominally the employee who was kind of over us. And I said, hey, this can't be happening. He slammed against the wall. Oh, Murphy, I mean, you don't really know how to talk to people. And the other woman that also works in this area, she doesn't take any crap from anybody. I'm like, what? So it was my fault that he had this, or maybe it was my fault that I was upset about it. So that was like, ugh. So I'm just like, man, what am I going to do? I hope nothing happens again. Well, later on, something else happened. And I was in there, I was working with him. I'm like, he was getting really into something. And I said, hey, I need to do this. I will fix it. And I was in there, and he shoved me aside. I'm like, okay, we're done. We have progressed from hitting a wall to pushing me. That's done. That's too far. So I'd already spoken to him, and it escalated rather than went down. So I went to the boss again. I'm like, hey, he used force on me. This is not okay. And he said, oh, maybe you could work from home. Like, do you know what I do? I can't set up physical equipment and turn it off and on from home. And I was very upset about it. And later on, apparently the manager had talked to this violent coworker, and he sent me an email that terrified me further. It said, I'm sorry that you felt that way. I know you're going to get over it, and we're going to work together. Like, I don't remember the exact words, but it sounded really stalkerish and threatening. And I was like, oh my God. I also knew that this guy talked about drinking until he blacked out. And he talked about the different guns that he had, and I did not feel safe at all. So this guy didn't have good control of his impulses. I went back to the manager and said, look at this. And he actually escalated it to the CIO. Fantastic. So I'm in the IT department. He escalated it to the CIO, and she was a woman. I'm like, oh, good. She will understand this and want to protect me. She had this much interest in protecting me. She did not care. Hey, Charles. She didn't care. Totally uninterested in my problem. Just was like, you need to get over this. This is, totally didn't care. And I'm like, I don't have HR to go to. I have no rights because I'm a contractor. I'm a consultant. There's nothing that I can do. I was just kind of sitting in a stairway, a public stairway, trying to figure out, what can I do? And a security guard walks by. He says, what's the matter? And I was friendly with this guy. He was actually a very motivated security guard. So, Veronica, I'm busy. I'll help you later. So I tell him the story, and he said, that's serious. Wait. He said, that's serious. And he escalated it to the head of security, and that guy was escorted off. The head of security had been in the military police, and he understood that this was a serious set of escalations, and he got escorted off. I was like, wow, that's what it took to get my story told, to be protected. And I wish it hadn't been that way. I wish that he hadn't escalated, but I'm glad that I did what I needed to do to protect myself. And that's just one of a million stories I could tell about what it's like to be in the workplace. And I don't know that it's going to get better. I'm not sure that there's got to be other ways. The thing is, it's not like being a woman is that much harder than just being a regular person. So there's a third book I started reading too, Linchpin by Seth Godin. And when I think about how I'm kind of mad that the system is against me, and how come these people are, they're not helping me out, all these, thoughts about, kind of want to just do something, you just get mad, right? So Seth Godin, Linchpin. And this is what I believe. I do believe this. This is what he says in the book. Just over a century ago, leaders of our society started building a system that is now so ingrained, most of us assume that it's always been here and always will be. Yeah, like the patriarchy maybe? We continue to operate as if that system is still here, but every day we do a day that is wasted. Oh, well. The patriarchy is one example, but he's actually talking about how we think business works. Every day we do a day, every day that we're still part of this system of going to a job and thinking it's going to give you a reward. Every day we do that is a day wasted, dollars lost, and opportunity squandered. And you need to see why. I need to see why? Tell me, Seth. The system we grew up in is based on a simple formula. Do your job, show up, work hard, listen to the boss, stick it out, be part of the system. You'll be rewarded. Isn't that what every single woman believes? Dang, we believe that so hard, don't we? Oh, just be good and Prince Charming will come, right? We'll get recognized and promoted. We'll just get noticed and we'll get promoted and we'll get advancement. Yeah. That's a scam. Strong words, but true. You've been scammed. You traded years of your life to be part of a giant con in which you are most definitely not the winner. If you've been playing that game, it's no wonder you're frustrated. The game is over. Yeah, it's over. So when Rebecca Traister wants to talk about how we all have to get together in the party, I think it's not a party anymore. That's what part of that party is something that made room for me ever. So that's not the party. And the career, yeah, actually I've worked really hard and I've got a pretty good career and I'm proud of what I do. And when I go to work, yes, they pay me, but I cannot trust that. It's not like it's going to stay that way. Jobs get haircuts every year. What is it, 10% sometimes? Maybe some years they skip a year. But there's always a haircut, and it's going to be me most of the time that gets cut because, well, I'm a troublemaker, right? Troublemaker just by not being like everybody else. And if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else who isn't quite like everybody else. All right. But that's the thing. It's a game and it's a con. And it's a con for everybody. It's a con for all of us. It's not like that woman who was the CIO. God bless her. She made it all the way to being a CIO of a pretty large company. She didn't have it. She didn't have my best interest at heart. She wasn't going to give me a hand up. Nobody's going to give you a hand up. You have to make your own, which is part of what Linchpin is about. So it's kind of a good antidote. It's not saying that one day we can all hold hands and say kumbaya and it'll be fine. I don't think we're looking for fine, actually. We're looking for better. We're looking for better and better. And if we're looking for better, it means we have to look right now and see what needs improvement. And what needs improvement, what's easiest to improve is the stuff that's the most screwed up. So that's kind of ugly and uncomfortable to have to watch and look at that go, oh, dang it, really? Really? Is that actually happening? Is that still happening? I mean, that's like a twisted ankle you're used to walking on. It only hurts when you stop. It only throbs after you stop walking. So it only hurts if you stop and notice all the bad yuck that's going on. But that's the only way we're going to stop and make it better. And we'll never make it all better, but better is pretty dang good. And we're going to keep going for better because it is a lot better than it used to be. It's a lot better than it used to be. And I'm ready to keep it going. But I'm not ready to keep using the constraints. Don't tell me that I'm going to get really good at typing in handcuffs. That's not the point. The point is to get really good. And handcuffs don't help. So scoot around the margins and help each other out. All of us. All of us. It's not just us against them and the people that don't do it right and us, the cool ones. It's all of us. Because all of us are wrong all the time and all of us are sexist some of the time and all of us are prejudiced some of the time. Because that's human. It's human to mess up. But it's also human to keep trying and make it better. So that's what I have to do to console myself by having spent a week or so looking at the yuck. Yuck, really? But I'm flawed too, and I'm willing, I'm committed to keep on making it better. And part of making it better for me means reading good books and getting ideas. So I'd love to hear some of your ideas. If any of you have some thoughts about what I'm sharing, leave me a comment. And I'll be back another time to wonder more, my moments of wonder. Okay, good night.